I'm hoping that you guys are able to hear me and you're able to see everything here. What I'm trying to do is show you a little bit of everything here, but first I'm trying to show you that from the Excel sheet that you have on your calendar, when you basically open up the calendar here, this is the assignment. The video I had to delete, so I'll post this one in its place. But ultimately, here's the explanation of what you're doing. All right, graph your base frequency and the assigned frequency, plot it versus time, plot them both versus time, sum the position data for each of those two frequencies, the base and the one you were assigned, and graph the sum versus the time. Format your axes for 1 second and plus and minus 2 second or 2 meters or 2 whatever for the y-axis. Yeah, that's it. So anyway, how do you find your data? So once you open this up, it told you to go to see the mechanical waves folder. So in the resources section, there's the data right here. Click that, open it up. So you should see something like this. And, oh, I'm sorry, you may see this when you open it up, but just click the groups tab on the bottom and check the class period, your name, right? Find out which frequency is your base for that for your table, and then compare it to use one of these other frequencies to do it. Ultimately, what you need to do is graph a bunch of stuff. So, all right, so I'm going to use 20 hertz and 21 hertz as a way to model this. So I'm going to use 20 hertz here, and I'm going to ultimately grab two columns. You could hold control if you can't, if they're not next to each other. So you just highlight one column, hold control, and then highlight the other column. Once you get down there, you can insert and then a graph right here. And that's what my graph looks like. The next thing you'll want to do is change the axes, right click on the axis, format the axis, and change that to 0 to 1. And that's a good enough graph. You can also do 0 to 2. I'm sorry, -1 to 2 on the y-axis. So coming over to the y-axis, format the axis, change that, -2 and +2. Now, once that's completed, if you right click on here, you can actually select more data. So here you can edit the first series of data. I'm going to call mine 20 hertz. And I have my data from column A on the X, that's the time. And my data from column U, that's 20 hertz. That's the position data. Hit OK. I'm going to add a second one. I'm going to call this one 21 hertz because that's the other graph I'm going to make. And, whoops. Not sure why that happened. All right, X data. X data is going to again be the time information all the way down for the full 5 seconds. Technically, you could probably just do this for 1 second since that's all you guys have to graph, by the way. But all the data is there, so I'm using it all. Series Y values. I'm going to select. Now, this is, if I went to the top, you could see that. So right now, I've already graphed the 20 hertz. I'm going to click and drag the 21 hertz data. This is the position data. Okay, so I'll throw a chart title in there, put my name in there, something like that. Whoops. Okay, I can also click and I would add chart titles, axis titles, I mean. On the left, we're going to have position. maybe it's meters. It actually doesn't matter for this because it wasn't measured data. Time would be seconds. Okay, so we get this graph, and you can see there's overlap happening here, and there's destruction, positive amplitude and negative amplitude for the two respective graphs, and then we're back to, so it's destructive interference in the middle, constructive on the outsides. And so what we want to do is we want to model how all of this is heard by our ear when we play two frequencies that are close, 20 and 21 hertz. And so to do that, the easiest way, I think, is to add another row. So right click. I'm gonna highlight, and then I'm gonna right click and unhide all the data that I was hiding. Right? And next to the 21 hertz, I'm gonna right click and hit insert. All right, so now I want to graph the sum of 21 plus 22. And when I graph the sum, so how do I get the sum? Well, equals, and I want to add this cell plus this cell, enter. Now I've created that formula. It's U3 plus V3. If I click and drag, you'll notice it will apply it all the way down. There we go. Now, I already have that one column highlighted. Now I'm going to hold Control and highlight all my time data. Now that that's all highlighted, insert. Again, pick the same kind of graph. That's the graph I get. Again, zoom in. You know how to do that now. Give it a chart title with your name. And this, you can call this the beat frequency graph. But again, amplitude, or I'm sorry, position. And then on the bottom, we're going to have time. That's it.